All right. This is great. What do you think, Olivia? Should we go ahead and kick this off?
Let's do this thing.
Okay, let's do it. So I'll get us started. First and foremost, again, thank you everyone for making the time. We know as financial advisors, you are busy, busy, busy. You could be doing a million things right now, even just as business owners, advisor aside, but you're choosing to be here to spend the hour with us. Clearly, you're invested in growing your business, which is awesome. And there's so much potential for growth. So, we're going to talk all about how to win business with testimonial marketing today compliantly. Yes, the parenthetical is key, as Derek mentioned in the Q&A box. And I'll just do a quick intro of myself, let Olivia introduce herself, and then we'll get into the content. So for any of you who don't know me or we're not connected online, my name is Diana Cabrices. I'm Chief Evangelist at Wealthtender. Wealthtender is an essential marketing platform for advisors, but we really focus on three key areas of marketing: testimonials. So we have a complete technology-backed system that helps you collect and promote testimonials compliantly, SEO, and media placement. So we're helping you get, quoted in the media or contribute to articles. We have a cool Ask an Advisor article series. We've had about 500,000 people visit wealthtender.com in the last 12 months looking for advice, looking for an advisor, which is exactly where we feature you. I've been in the marketing space for about 6-7 years now, working with advisors, but also in other areas of technology, succession planning, M&A, recruiting. I'm super passionate about advisors. For whatever reason, I think there's so much opportunity for you guys to evolve and to grow, and I'm here to help you. So I said I would keep it short. I really didn't, but Olivia, I'm going to pass it over to you to introduce yourself.
That's okay. We enjoyed it. I'm Olivia Luper. I'm the founder of Lexicon Advisor Marketing. We are business development marketing for financial advisors. We customize your prospecting experience with our marketing systems. Now, we are a fully outsourced digital marketing department, but we specialize in the financial advisor systems that automate the prospecting experience, allowing you to build relationships with people without using all the hours in your day to do so. We've been in marketing and content development since 2018, and marketing, as you know, is constantly changing and evolving. So has our business, and we're here today with the best offering that we have had so far, and we're excited to, share that with everybody.
Wonderful. Awesome. All right, let's get this kicked off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear out the responses you all left us, not because they're not important, but we'll make room for any live questions that come in. So we're going to do a Q&A at the end. So feel free, as we're talking and things pop up in your head, go ahead and drop it in the Q&A box. Maybe we'll cherry pick along the way, but for sure we'll have a dedicated Q&A at the end. We'll probably run to the top of the hour. If we can let you out even a few minutes early, we absolutely will. Again, we know you're very busy business people, as are we. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and open this next slide up here. And in this next slide, we're going to pose our very first question. And it's very important question to ask in this type of webinar, but why are testimonials important in financial advisor marketing? We're actually going to talk even beyond financial advisor marketing because they're important psychologically. I'm going to kick us off, and then Olivia, I definitely want to hear from you. When you think about the way people search for an advisor, there's usually some sort of emotional catalyst that has happened in their life. I inherited money. I lost a parent. I'm having a child. Someone's going to college. I'm nearing retirement. These are all emotional catalysts where they need help. So that is really important to give them substance that's going to help them with that emotional side of making a purchase. See, a purchase is made based on logic and facts, but it's also based on emotion. So when you serve them up with stories, you've all probably heard about how powerful storytelling is. And truly, testimonials are your clients telling your stories for you. Nothing can really beat that. That's even more powerful than you telling that story. That's really touching on that emotional side. This is the same with like getting a referral, right? If their friend had something good to say about you, that's really going to touch them right here. And they're going to listen to that friend and they're going to move forward. They're going to talk to you. Word of mouth, the same. The factual is your education, your credentials, your years of experience, what you actually do as a service in your advisory practice. You bring those two together and then you reach that hiring decision. This is why online reviews are so powerful. Olivia, what else would you say just about social proof, if you will?
Well, social proof is actually a concept that suggests that other people look to other people to determine appropriate behavior, especially when it comes to buying decisions. When people see testimonials, especially from people they can relate to or respect, it signals that that product is worthy of their time or their money. Also, identification and empathy. The customer can potentially identify with what the person is going through. So I always say in advisor marketing, we always want to show the positive outcome of working with you. What is the problem that the client is having? How do you solve that with your unique services? And what is the positive outcome? How has their life improved? And social testimonials have that social proof. They build that identification and empathy, and they let the person future cast themselves in a work relationship with you. So they can kind of see, hey, I have that problem. Oh, he helped that, this advisor helped him with that problem. And look, now he's thriving and he's not stressed out anymore. And he doesn't have this tax problem. I want that. And so it allows them to see that. And the reason that this works is because it's another person saying it. It's not just
Yeah.
you, right? And that's something we're going to get into further down in the deck as well about where to place testimonials. But all of these things are backed by psychology and the way that we as consumers evaluate FAs and make decisions about partnering with them.
I love everything you had to say. And if I could like take a word from that entire thing, it really was like relatability. Like I want to buy something that I know is solving the same problem that I have for other people. I can relate to these people. Being an advisor or even a doctor, an attorney, you are in a position of power in a way, right? Like they're looking to you for help. So it's not necessarily that they're going to find that relatability in you. They can, especially if you're telling your own story, but
Right.
they're going to look to who's in their purview of getting help and again, solving those same problems. So I love everything you had to say about that. There's also a lot of data, folks. There's data in the industry, there's data outside of the industry, but in industry data, which I really love to lean on. About a year ago, there was a survey, and I think we're going to be releasing another one, but this is done by a company called Bright Local. And it says 81% of consumers said that online reviews are important or very important when making decisions about financial services. So we know there's a ton of data out there that says, hey, a certain subset of people are actually going to pay more to a business just because they have reviews, or, that's going to be their final decision making factor is, do they have good reviews? Is it, a 3-star? Is it a 5-star? But this data here shows just in this space that this is meaningful for people. It's important or very important. On this next slide, I actually have a quick video and hopefully it can play for all of you. But it is from an advisor. His name is Iyad Amari. He's a CFP, and I interviewed him. Maybe this was about a year ago, actually, a little bit under a year ago. And he really wasn't doing anything with testimonial marketing, but it just so happens one of his clients left a review on Google. And again, he wasn't soliciting, he wasn't talking about it, wasn't even in his brain. Compliance was a whole other issue. But let's hear what he had to say about the power of that one Google review for him.
I got a client randomly from internet traffic that I usually don't get my clients that way, right? It's very difficult. And I asked them why they chose to call me. And the gentleman said, you had a really good review on Google, a good review, which I only had one. And this was before we were really allowed to. It wasn't random. It was a client that unsolicited, she put a review on Google, for me. And so just one review, and he said, hey, I chose to call you because it was a really good review. And that was like, okay, I have to figure out a way to harness this. Because I knew the rule was coming, the change was coming. I think it was November of last year. So this was a couple months prior to that. It was over the summer. And then when Wealthtender came out with this process, it was only, fitting that I, took it upon a part of my marketing practice. And you guys just made it really easy to do that.
I just love that clip. You can tell there's a little even fear in his voice just because, again, with compliance, like before the rule passed, but it just goes to show even just having one review is powerful. Now, we want you to have more than one. We want you to refresh your reviews over time. Olivia, I know you know all about this with SEO and just having relevant and recent content for Google algorithms, but I love that video.
Definitely. We're going to get more into that too.
Take a sip of water.
So, Diana, now we are convinced that we need testimonials in our marketing, or maybe we've collected them. We don't know what to do with them. We want to be compliant, obviously. So what are the most important compliance considerations that we need to consider, either as an advisor or a service provider for an advisor, to help them squeeze all the juice out of their testimonials in a compliant way?
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about this. Let's address the elephant in the room, as I like to say, because most of you are probably thinking, I'd like to do this, but what about compliance? And actually, I was impressed with how many of you said you're already starting
Me
the
too.
process.
Yes, me
Man,
too.
the shift is happening. Yay. Okay, but what do we need to consider? So I'm going to go through a couple slides here. First and foremost, your registration type matters. The SEC marketing rule is specifically applying to SEC registered advisors. If you are a state registered investment advisor, then it really depends on your state, unfortunately. At Wealthtender, we're part of the National Association of Compliance Professionals. We work with, companies called Nassau to help move the needle for you. There are green light states that have completely said yes, kind of abiding by the SEC marketing rule. There are yellow light states that are kind of in the middle, and there's some legislation happening right now. And then there's just some red light states. I do have a link that I'd love to share with you all, where we can help you understand where you fall in that sort of red, yellow, green light. Nick just mentioned compliance hasn't been an issue at all. Nick, I love it. I love your compliance department. Whoever works with you there, that is good to hear. But for some of you, maybe you have some red tape there. Registered reps, there was actually already existing rules allowing testimonials for you. And the disclosures and the requirements are very similar to the SEC marketing rule. I think where you start to see it differ is when there's talk about investment performance. That's very touchy, especially in the RR world. SEC registered investment advisors, again, the rule applies to you. So I'm going to show you, what does a compliant review even look like? What is sort of the meat and potatoes of what you need to know?
We need the samples, all the samples.
Yes, exactly. They help. I'm a visuals person too.
Me too.
So this is a screenshot from a Wealthtender certified advisor review. Now we call it that because you'll learn a little bit later, and why we partner with Lexicon is we really take care from the technological side, collecting the review in a very compliant and fail-safe way, if you will, which is why I love technology. But what you'll see here is that there are clear and prominent disclosures up under the review. So this person said, I highly recommend Allison. There's 5 stars. There's the review. And then below that, you see those bullet points. These bullet points are the disclosures that are required by the SEC, and they have to actually be, very much the same size and not hidden, in very light text, if you will. It needs to be the same as the review. What are they saying? These disclosures, I call it the 3C, triple C's. Client, is this person a client or not? So you can see relationship to financial advisor. Compensation, is this person compensated? Have they been compensated or not? Yes, you can compensate for reviews if your compliance department allows it. The SEC certainly does. And conflict of interest. So maybe this person's been a dear friend, or you went to school together, or they're a family member, right? Whatever the conflicts of interest could potentially be, it has to be notified. You also have a place for additional disclosures if necessary. But this can also be linked or hidden, but these 3 main ones need to be prominent.
And I found that varies from compliance department to department, what they really just want you to include, and that's easy enough to find out.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It always starts with your compliance officer, your compliance department, because even though the SEC has their rules, if you're, not just a solo advisor shop, if you've got multiple advisors, usually it's going to be a firm policy first, and that might differ from the SEC marketing rule. It won't go against it. It just might maybe limit it in scope a little bit. All right. This is another thing that I want to talk about.
Me too.
And I know, yes, let's do it, Olivia. Olivia, do you want to start and kick us off on this one, or do you want me to?
No, you go first.
Okay. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. Google is our friend, right? It's going to help us in a lot of ways. And at Wealthtender, we play with Google, we play in the sandbox with Google. We think it's very important. Everything we do is also very much centralized on how you're going to appear on Google. However, with reviews, there are things to know. There are things to consider. And some firms, again, are just going to say no Google reviews at all. It depends. But there's a couple of problems with Google and Yelp as being your only source of collecting and promoting reviews. I'm not saying it shouldn't be a source, but as being your only source. First things first, on Google, you cannot solicit compensated reviews. You can solicit a review if your compliance department allows it, but you can't solicit compensated reviews. And again, the SEC allows for that. You also can't promote the review as is. If you go and say, look at my Google reviews, read all my 5-star reviews on Google, especially if you get that in writing, technically you're out of compliance. Why? You're now promoting an advertisement. It's creating an advertisement that doesn't have those disclosures because Google doesn't require those disclosures.
Can't be approved.
Exactly. There's also no anonymous reviews allowed on Google. Some clients want to remain anonymous, especially if they're high profile. They don't want to put their name on a review. The algorithm could delete legitimate reviews. I've seen this happen before. It's been a headache for some advisors. It's such a glowing review that the system thinks it's fake. So it deletes it. And then finally, if something were to happen, if a client or somebody angry, or I know, Olivia, you've got a story here, leaves a review that needs to be disputed because this is untrue what this person's saying, it's going to be nearly impossible to get that removed from Google. So that's really difficult. Last quick thing I'll say, I'm going to pass it over to you, Olivia, with Yelp. And I know, maybe not a lot of you are really all that caring about Yelp, but I want to add it in here anyway. Yelp doesn't allow you to solicit reviews at all. It's just a policy with Yelp. Again, you can't promote them on Yelp as is because they don't have disclosures. And similar to Google, the software might mark legitimate reviews as not recommended. So a headache for compliance, great for exposure. Let's talk about the good side, Olivia.
Yeah. So I want to say that let's talk about Google first. We don't really mess with Yelp very much, but as Diana mentioned, one of the downsides is that we can't use the testimonials from your Google review anywhere else. But there are benefits to having them. So you definitely, I think, in my opinion, should have an automated system for collecting them. Remember, we can't cherry pick, so we have to give an opportunity for all clients to leave a review. But having an automated system that can collect them can cover those bases. Maybe, couple times a year, you have an email marketing campaign that goes out to the current client list. And we're going to share with you an email template that you might be able to use. Our FA Accelerator program comes with this built in, so it's part of automating your prospecting systems. But let me tell you a story also about the bad actor reviews. I spoke to an advisor not even a month ago, a prospect, that told me I have one Google review. It clearly was not even meant for my business. It was like for concrete company or something. And it was a bad review. Google, trying to get help from Google on that, just forget it. Forget it. You are going to be, so he has one bad review for his business, which clearly when you read the review isn't even for his business, but it's going to affect, what people see. Oh, he has a bad review. Maybe they don't even read it. Or maybe it affects, his ability to show up in the search box. So because your reviews will help you come up in that sidebar box when people are searching, for a financial advisor near me. They prioritize people with more reviews. They prioritize people with better reviews. And your Google reviews are going to help with SEO. So linking back to your website, bringing you to the top of the search engine results. And this is something also that is a benefit of working with Wealthtender, because this can also help with your SEO and having these testimonials in a third-party platform. But we'll get to that when we get to that slide. So we're not saying don't try to get Google reviews. They are helpful. Just be aware that there are pros and cons.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And you know what? While you were saying that, I thought I would just pull up a couple of quick examples here on Google. So I searched for Emily Rassam. So usually, again, if I'm a consumer and I just talk to Emily in a discovery meeting, the chances of me going to Google her business name are less likely than me actually Googling her name. And what pops up immediately is her LinkedIn, her website, and then bam, Wealthtender is right at the top. We have a really high domain authority because of all the content that we post. We're very strategic with SEO, and you can see her 5-star reviews there. Another option is if, let's say, I were to search a firm name. So that box that Olivia was talking about over on the right, that is the Google business profile. It used to be called Google My Business. And Rather and Cottrell, I think they're around 100. No, actually, they're, I think, about a $1 billion an AUM firm. And they use Wealthtender, and their compliance team does not allow for Google reviews. They happen to have one. Thankfully, it's 5 stars. But what you do see in this Google My Business profile is if I start to scroll down, you can also see that there's 110 reviews on Wealthtender. So Google My Business sees Wealthtender as an official review site. Again, we're getting a ton of traffic. So it's almost just a good way not only to double down on your digital presence, but to also have that right here in Google My Business.
I have another good example, which I didn't think of when we were talking before, but I have an advisor friend, Jason, who does financial planning for construction and contractors. So when I just Google right now, financial planning for construction, page 1 search result, Wealthtender article, looking for financial help for your construction business.
Ooh.
And it links to his profile. So I mean, there's a lot of SEO benefits here. Even, I mean, they weren't searching for his name, but they're looking for financial help for construction business. Wealthtender is what comes up.
I love that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
What did you type in?
Financial planning for construction.
Okay. That is awesome. Yeah, that is, again, a huge SEO benefit of Wealthtender. If you like, you can go on Google and you can search the different domain authorities of find an advisor directories. That's essentially what we are. At our core, we're a find an advisor directory. But if you go and search that, you'll find against even find a CFP, or what is it? There was, I think the XY planning one has a platform, financialadvisor.com. We're constantly ranking higher in traffic, but also in domain authority. So how high are we popping up on the Google search results, which is important. And we do a lot of these types of articles. Like, we'll get really specific, divorcees, unexpected circumstances, or maybe it's like you're targeting Pepsi employees. So we have a whole article on, if you're working with Pepsi employees, we can make it local for you. We do all these things. So thank you for mentioning that, Olivia. I love that you brought that up live. It's wonderful.
And if you go down to the bottom of the page, there he is. So, I mean, it's like, oh, hey, look.
Yep. There's Q&A.
Yeah.
Jason right here. Yep. So, and when we're unlike other lead gen platforms, we don't gatekeep the content. So if you want to book an intro call with Jason right from our page, he needs to update his Calendly. I'll have to notify him of that.
Just send him a little text.
I will, but you can do that. You don't have to, there's no gatekeeping here. This is going directly to Jason. We're not reselling these leads. Again, book the intro call. So thank you again for that, Olivia. That was wonderful. So let's go back here. So we talked a little bit about Google and Yelp. And then I think there was a question. I think, Mark, we're going to save that one for the end, but it's a great question. Let's talk about the how to really get started asking advisors for a review from their clients. Olivia, I know you mentioned you have an email template. So I think you mentioned it's part of your FA Accelerator program.
So it's an automation that we can schedule to go out multiple times a year to current client list. Even or even, for new clients, maybe after a certain period after they've been onboarded to give a review. We can set it up a couple different ways, but I mean, it's even automated, so you don't have to remember to do it.
Okay. Love that. That's the beauty of working with a company like Lexicon, because again, advisors have a lot mentally going on to keep up with. Marketing is one of those things that it's complex. There's a lot of moving parts. There's emails, there's launches, there's landing pages. It's just a lot to keep up with. It looks like Megan had a drop off. Megan, no worries at all. If you're still here with us, maybe not, but we're going to, this is recording. We'll make sure everybody gets a copy of the recording. What I like to say first and foremost is talk to your compliance team, but don't be afraid to ask, right? 60% of consumers said they're likely to write a review after a good experience when the business follows up with a link in an email asking for a review. So we'll talk about like when those good times to ask for, definitely after a client review meeting, but you do need to have archived in your systems communications that have gone out to all of your clients. The SEC does not want you to cherry pick your top favorite client relations and ask them for reviews. It needs to really be everybody that you work with. So you can ask your clients, You can also ask non-clients. They don't have to be a client. If it's an influential COI that you might have, or KRC, and I know these terms are a little annoying, but your partners in your space that know you, that respect you, specialists in your niche, maybe CPAs, again, nonprofit orgs, they can leave reviews about your character. It's not necessarily just how you've helped with their portfolios if you haven't helped them, but it's about your character and them even being a partner to you and how that experience has been. Well, you'll get this email template. I'm sure, Olivia, you might want to share yours or a link to learn more about where they can get yours. This is just one if you are using Wealthtender to get the compliant testimonial process started. And then I know, Olivia, you've got one as well for Google. If your compliance officer allows for that, there's also a QR code that we generate for you if you don't want to use just a link. We've had a lot of advisors use this template. They've said that it's been really helpful for them. Last thing I'll say, and then I really want to kind of turn it back to you, Olivia, to talk about strategic promotional placement, because getting the review is just step one, guys. We want actually to people to see that review. We want to help you amplify that review. Include a link in your email signature. If you have a newsletter or some sort of email comm that you're sending out regularly, add a section right at the bottom. Create an instructional flyer for your office with the QR code. Build a dedicated section on your website. If you go to Rather and Cottrell's website that I had pulled up at RIA, they not only have their reviews, but they also have it where you can leave a review. You click the button and it opens up the form and it submits that review through their Wealthtender process. Incorporate it into your client review. So as soon as you finish up with that, you send that follow-up meeting summarizing all your goals with your client that you've set. Ask for a review. You can even propose a charitable donation as compensation. So Mark asked the question, why would advisors compensate? Well, everyone's a little bit different. And compensation doesn't have to mean direct compensation to this person. It could also mean an Amazon gift card or some sort of nature like that. People are more incentivized with money. It's just how the world works. But you could also propose a charitable donation as compensation. All right, let's talk about where you shine with Lexicon. Olivia, where should advisors strategically feature their testimonials?
Well, like I put in the promotional copy for this event, your website is not enough. There are lots of reasons for this. One of them being somebody might never make it to your website. They might not know about you at all because you're not doing a lot of awareness building activities in your marketing. So unless you're driving traffic to your website intentionally through SEO, through links on social media, links in your social media profiles, links in your email, they might never be seen except, by the 300 to 1,000 people who visit your website every month. And I mean, for advisors, in my experience, for mid-size advisory firms who aren't doing much marketing, 300 is about the average users per month. Google Analytics, that's not a lot of people. And that's even, okay, and that's even if you don't have a bad bounce rate, meaning people actually click through your website, right? Your homepage, just for side note, 85% of the people will never make it past your homepage. It has to do the heavy lifting. So for that reason, yes, we want to have the testimonials on your homepage, but just letting you know that just because someone gets to the website doesn't mean they're even going to see it. So there are a lot of hoops that really have to be jumped through to get there. So we want to make sure that we're using the testimonials in a lot of different places because they are so powerful. A great place is on landing pages. So we specialize in making advisor funnels. And on the broadcast page that people land on initially, we really like to feature testimonials there. Gives people an incentive to opt in for your lead magnet, join your email list, or schedule a call. Inside your lead magnets. So at the end, we really like to say, what our clients are saying about us, what our clients love about us, or whatever. And then, of course, your contact information. It just gives that extra push. In your social posts and profiles, and we're going to look at a sample from Wealthtender in the next slide, but we also can turn those Wealthtender reviews into customized graphics that are branded specifically for your firm with your firm's, team members' pictures and such. And we can put them in like your LinkedIn featured section. There's a lot that we can do. Sales emails and newsletters. These are a great place to, like Diana said, you can ask for your reviews through there. but also feature some. We don't want to leave that opportunity out. Email is one of the most powerful lead conversion tools out there. So we want to include them in there. Video and YouTube, and also marketing materials that you're going to take to a conference, seminar, pitch decks, brochures. These are all wonderful places that we can include the testimonials to really pack a punch for your marketing.
Beautiful. Let's look at that social review or social example. Excuse me. So,
Yeah.
Olivia,
So yeah, go ahead.
no, I know you mentioned you guys can create them. Talk a little bit more about that process. I know what we have here really is just to showcase from a compliance standpoint how it needs to be structured.
I mean, it would just be, a matter of, I'm not sure if this is Water Street's branding or not, since, this was an example from you, but we just have to make sure that we have our disclosures here. But we can make, different graphics, branded in different ways that you like, for banners or social, organic posts, LinkedIn features sections, just there's a lot of possibilities. Or like you have as an example here, a link or QR code to read all the reviews, so they can be taken to, either Wealthtender profile or the page dedicated on your website to your reviews. And just, that drives website traffic if you're sending them to your website, and, gives you a chance to share them all rather than just one. So there's a lot of ways that you can structure it.
Love it. Yeah. And yeah, I think this is Water Street's branding. I know with
Okay.
Wealthtender, it's not like this is not by any means our main offering, right? Our main offering is to help you collect it, get it on your profile on Wealthtender, which is having a lot of traffic land there, feature you in as many places as we can, SEO. But I love what you had to say, Olivia. It's like if you're linking back to the website, which we also have a feature that allows you to embed these reviews in a scroller on your website, Olivia's team can help make that beautiful. Like, get more of that website traffic by all means. That's super duper important for SEO. So love what you had to say here. As you guys can see, there's so many different ideas. There are so many different channels. And I like to call these like channels of fruit, right? Like wherever people are going or landing, you want to make sure that social proof is front and center. It is just marketing best practices. So let's talk a little bit about how together we can help advisors get started. Olivia, I know we've kind of already touched on this quite a bit in the webinar, but just, why did we even partner? What side of the house do we really support when it comes to marketing and testimonial marketing specifically? I'll kick us off on this one with just the Wealthtender side, Olivia, but with the Wealthtender process, it's quite simple. You have your profile. I showcased one a moment ago when Olivia was talking, but you have your profile. It's so easy to send a link or a QR code to your clients, or even right on your Wealthtender profile, they can leave a review. That review, they're going to put their name, their information. If they want to stay anonymous, they can. They have to put an email address, though, because you need to know who's writing it. That's going to get sent to you via an email. So you're going to get notified by email that you have a review. You're going to review it in totality. And then you're going to tell our system, which is a couple of radio buttons, clicked or not, and you can expand where you need to, if those triple C's, right? Is this a client or a non-client? Are they compensated? Are there any material conflicts of interest that you need to add here? Once you submit that, the review goes live. Now, if you're with a big firm, we can also enter another sort of step in this process here where it can go back to your compliance department first for them to review. But otherwise, you can review it, you publish it. It's now live on Wealthtender. It's going to start getting picked up by Google. But next is where more of that magic is really happening. Yes, we can help with social content. Yes, we're going to drive all the traffic and SEO to get eyeballs on the reviews. But really, after that, it's where the beautiful partnership we have with Lexicon, and you're working with Lexicon, where you can really go all in on just magnifying this review and all of your other ones in different places. So, Olivia, just a quick highlight on that point one more time, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. So basically, like in our service to financial advisors, it's our job to accomplish three things: build awareness, which SEO is a big part of that. Social media is a big part of that. YouTube is a big part of that. In other words, how are we getting people to learn about us? Obviously, Wealthtender being a high ranking domain authority website helps with the SEO. But then building awareness in other areas. So let's take it from Wealthtender. Let's put it on social media. Let's get it in your emails. Let's put them on your landing pages. That way, whatever avenues we're using for step 2, which is lead collection, we're using those testimonials to encourage people to take the next step, which would be maybe opt into your email list or opt into your lead magnet, or maybe it's directly scheduled a call. So we're going to take it from Wealthtender, where is a great place to have it and grab it, know we're staying in compliance, but then working with a service department like ours who knows about the compliance rules and regulations and can make sure that we're squeezing all of the juice out of those testimonials in a way that's not going to get you in trouble. And then on the back end, we can use it in our email to nurture those collected leads into converted leads. In other words, getting those people that we've got to opt in to actually become paying clients. We can use them in our hot lead nurture sequence, meaning the emails that we send to someone who's already had a discovery call. So it really covers all 3 areas, from awareness to lead collection to lead conversion, and just using those in each place in the funnel to drive them through and end up in your book of business.
Love it. Oh, I
Win
love
more business.
Right. Win more business. That's what this whole webinar is about. Marketing is a multi-step system. It's not a one and done kind of thing. So that is why it is so important where you can and where you should look to partners. You should outsource. It's actually going to be the make or break in success and growing your business with marketing. Thank you for that, Olivia. And I think what you've built is fantastic. And if you currently don't follow Olivia online, like, she's one of the most authentic marketers in this space. She truly shows up as herself. And that's exactly what she's helping you do as well. I think it's one of those things where it's like, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? And Olivia and the team at Lexicon absolutely walk the walk. That's why we partnered with them. So love that you elaborated on that. Folks, we've done a lot of talking, and now we want to really hear from you. Don't be shy, but this is where we have a live Q&A. And, I'm going to leave this next slide up in case you do want to learn more about Wealthtender, about Lexicon. If you want to connect with Olivia or myself on LinkedIn, we're always posting helpful education on the marketing topic, all the different angles of marketing. I'll leave this slide up, but this is your space. Ask as many questions as you would like to. Any comments that you might have? Did you learn from this webinar? Was this helpful for you? Is there anything you'd like to learn more about in the future from the 2 of us on the front of marketing? So don't be shy. We'll leave it open.
We do have a question that has been sitting there for a bit, but I'm going to defer to you because I know outside of our industry, there are ways to help people leave reviews, right? So there are some, we do some marketing for other service providers who service FAs. They aren't bound by the same rules. So we are able to do a little bit more. In their situation, what we do is we kind of frame, we can ask them questions. Are you satisfied with X, Y, and Z? Are you happy with the way that we've done this? If so, you can kind of frame it for them. I'm not very sure that that's appropriate, though, in the FA space. I'm not sure that that's allowed. So you should let us know.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? I'm going to make sure that all of you who signed up for this webinar get this testimonial marketing playbook. And you don't have to get a physical copy. I keep one here with me because I'm just crazy about the topic, but I'll make sure you get a digital version. But here's what I would say here to stay safe in the world of compliance, because yes, there's language around, sort of writing a review for your clients and what that really means. And we don't want to get into any of that. I think what you said was perfect, Olivia. And that's exactly what I was going to recommend, is it's all in the way you frame it. How have we helped you? What's been one of the biggest benefits from working with me this year, right? Maybe you pose 3 questions along those lines. We'd really appreciate a review. Here's a link where you can leave us one. So you're not telling them, you need to say this. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So
you can kind of remind them what you've helped them get through, or, if it's, were you happy with the way that we helped you manage your Yeah, after you loss of your spouse or whatever. Like that's pretty
Yes.
morbid, but you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Right. Well, hey, it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like that sounds good. I would maybe be careful with like, are you happy with the investment return? Right. You don't
Right,
want to
right.
get into all of that, but you're spot on with that. It's all in the positioning. It looks like we had another question here. Marco, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. So Nick asks, you mentioned that there are best times to ask for reviews after good meetings, for instance. How do we juggle timing this ask with asking everyone and not cherry picking? Great question, Nick. So here's what I would recommend. First and foremost, the first step that I would take in starting to ask for a review is to send that one email template to all of my clients. Does it mean all of my clients are going to leave a review? No. 40% of them, 60% of them might not even take action on that one email, but now you have that archived for compliance purposes. And then what you can do on top of that is after you have these annual reviews scheduled with your clients, then you have that other email template that includes it in that follow-up email, again, where you're kind of recapping what you covered, the goals that you've set, etc. You also have it in there. So you've already covered the main base of covering everyone, but now you start doing it after each review. Some advisors, like depending on how many households you have, your team size, all of that stuff, some advisors will also just say, look, I've lined up all my client reviews surge style over the next 8 weeks. Everyone's getting the same email with the same request. So that's enough for the SEC. So it's really up to you how you want to structure that. But hopefully that helps.
Yeah. And then Nick, you asked featuring reviews in different places. How does this relate to cherry picking rules? Cherry picking is really more like you can't just ask your favorite clients. When we're talking about which testimonials we want to use in our marketing, we can choose which ones that we want to use. That's we don't have to provide every review in every space that we put one review. It's more so just you can't just ask some people and not everyone because you think Johnny's not as happy as Anne. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the cherry picking thing comes in. Did that answer your question?
I think that actually did. I would add just quickly what you do need to do when you feature a certain review is have that little link that leads them back to your other reviews.
Okay.
Yeah, but the cherry picking, you're right. It's just for the requesting, really.
And
Perfect.
yes,
Yeah.
we will provide a recording of the webinar to everyone that's registered, attendees and non-attendees alike.
Yeah.
Just give me a few days.
Yeah. We're busy marketers, right? Mara says if they aren't our favorite clients, might be time to look at why. Man, I could not agree more, Mara. And sometimes this, it opens up, I don't want to say Pandora's box because you'd be surprised. We have, I think, around 1,000 reviews on Wealthtender to date for across all of our advisors on the platform. And like 99% of them are 5 stars. I think there's 2 4-star reviews. So most advisors think, oh, I'm going to get bad reviews. I'm opening Pandora's box. It's really not that. But I will say there can be situations where it's like, well, hey, I want to have a conversation with you about maybe where my expectations aren't being met. And what an awesome door opener to help course correct with that client. That's my opinion.
Don't let the client die on the vine. Take proactive, and in a lot of cases, I feel like those conversations actually lead to better relationships than even previous ones.
Agreed.
It's like that psychology behind sometimes clients are more satisfied when you've messed up and you went above and beyond to make up for it than they were if you had just done everything perfectly from the beginning because they see that you've gone the extra mile and that you care for them in that way. So, I always think about that.
That's such a good point. I've never even thought about it like that.
I mean, it's science.
Yeah.
I'm not making
So much of marketing is, right? It's science, it's art.
I wrote a book for someone once, and that was part of it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
You're such a rock star. That's awesome. Any other questions, guys? Olivia, I don't know if we would want to cover maybe some pricing or anything else you think?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and talk about the Wealthtender fees, and then I can kind of share about ours.
Yeah. So if you're still with us and you go to wealthtender.com/grow, then you will land on this page here. And there's actually an 8-minute video from myself where I'm actually taking you through the full Wealthtender program. Testimonial marketing, again, is really one of our 3 main pillars here. And then learn a little bit more about what we do, But if you scroll down, then you're going to see this section where we talk about our plans. This is why we make such a good partner with Lexicon. We are a very low cost system. We're not trying to charge you hundreds of dollars a month. We think what we do is kind of essential and important and sort of baseline, if you will. And then everything that Lexicon does is really freaking important. It's the ongoing stuff. It's also a lot of the fundamentals, the website, all that good stuff that you need to keep on an ongoing basis. Wealthtender is more like you set it up and you're good. And you can do the media placements when you want, but once you have that profile and you've got the reviews set up, then that's just going to keep going to work for you from an SEO standpoint. We have a starter plan. You'll get that SEO optimized profile page. So I didn't really get to show you a whole lot of one, but this is a company one. You can do a company one and you can do an individual advisor one. The company one has 111 reviews. You can even feature those on individual advisor profiles with review sync, but it's got all sorts of information, a video, who are we, what can you expect in the first meeting, here's our advisors. Again, you don't have to have a firm profile. You can just have a single profile where, highlights. We also backlink to website articles that you might have written. And so that's $29 a month. It also lets you open up and get those reviews. We'll feature you in a local guide, all that good stuff. It's $39 a month monthly, but it's $29 technically if you do the annual plan. Growth is just that next step, and that's where we add in the media placement opportunities. So we're, again, featuring you in guides, Ask an Advisor series. We have a partnership with MSN. And so for advisors who are talking to us with, when we get these reporter alerts, we send them right to you. We also syndicate your content. And so it can get thousands of reviews, hundreds of thousands of reviews if you're lucky. But we're doing this every single week. And then finally, we have a final tier here. And this is really if you're interested in joining our community. So we do have a community. It's called Advisors Growing as a Community, the AGC. It was founded by Taylor Schulte, Justin Costelli. If you're familiar, they're two amazing advisors in the space. But this is all of Wealthtender plus the access to our community, which is a private online advisor community. We have about 150 advisors there to date. And Olivia, we need to bring you in as a guest speaker at some point this year.
Yes, I would love that.
I'll stop on my side. Do you want to share your screen or you just want to talk through?
I'm trying to bring up the deck, but it's my computer's being ridiculous.
No worries.
So I'll just talk through it. So we have a couple different ways that we help advisors. We can act as a fully outsourced marketing department. Generally, this is the best fit for firms who are between 500 million and 1.5 billion, starting at $10,000 a month. We also do a just digital advertising and email marketing program for $3,000 a month. And we have a organic growth model for also $3,000 a month. But we do offer a la carte services. So if you're just looking for SEO, or you're just looking for email marketing, or you're just looking for help with your social media content, we also have that as well. If you are interested in seeing that deck, because the prices are not on my website, just send me a DM on LinkedIn and I will provide that for you.
Love it. That is awesome. And again, this is full service. Olivia and her team are connecting all the dots for you. They're building all the email templates. They're connecting, they're creating the funnels, the different ads. There's so much going on there. So
yeah, like I said earlier, really the three main goals are: how are we going to build awareness? How are we going to collect leads? And how are we going to convert them to clients? Those are our three main concerns. And there's more than one way to skin a cat. And it really just depends on where you're at, with your budget and how much you want to put in of your time. So we kind of look at who you are, what your goals are, and then we can say, okay, how are we going to accomplish step 1? How are we going to accomplish step 2? And how are we going to accomplish step 3 within the confines of your budget? And we make the best plans from there. And of course, marketing is always test and optimize. We're always looking at what we're doing and seeing how we can make it better, because your success is our success. I take, our reputation in the industry very seriously. So if I don't think I can help you, I will let you know.
That's amazing. And you have a great reputation in the space. So, and that's what a great brand is, right? It's what people say about you when you're not there. So, this has been great. Olivia, thank you for partnering with me on this webinar.
Thank you. When Brian
fantastic.
that we get together, I was like, this is going to be perfect.
Yes.
I love this for us. I love this journey for us.
Me too. And we've been planning this since last year, guys. So hopefully you appreciated the content. It looks like some of you are leaving some really sweet comments about the content. And yes, we'll send you the replay. We'll send you the testimonial marketing playbook, the lexicon information. You will get it all. Just give us a few days. And thank you all
Thank you,
for
dear.
coming. Yeah. Have a great rest of your week and have a good weekend.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.